Morning,
This
everyone.
conference will now be recorded.
Oh, shit. Okay, can you all hear me now?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Okay. Sorry, I was speaking continuously. Someone muted me. Sorry. Okay, so let me introduce myself again. So yeah, my name is Ram. So I'm working in Salesforce from past 13 years. Of course, that's what my overall experience as well. I started my career as a Salesforce admin, then developer. Now I'm an architect, working for different applications on sales, service, of course, e-commerce, CPQ, marketing, and all the different products that we are using in my organization. And uh, trainings, yes, we did trainings for multiple people. It's been 7 or 7.5 years that I've been into training. But yeah, trained close to 3,000 people by now. Most of them are online. Just give me 1 minute. Sorry. Yeah. So why are we here today? To understand about the basic introduction of about Salesforce, like what is Salesforce, specifically what is cloud first, and then what is CRM, then why Salesforce, why not any other technologies, and of course, what are the job opportunities, certifications, and how can you plan your career, and of course, the course content, the timings, etc., etc. So, apart from this, if you do have any questions, yes, we will go through those questions as well. Yeah. Now, um, who knows about the screen? Anyone?
Sorry. Sorry, could you please repeat that one?
Uh, can anyone explain about the screen?
I mean, it depends on the time period, right? It's like,
Yeah. So it just tells you about the industrial revolutions that we have, which started with steam, then electricity, and the computing. But now we are in artificial intelligence, right? So what is the difference between three and four, third and fourth? So in the third industrial revolution, where if I want to communicate with my system, let's say if I want to write a function which says 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, I have to write some logic where system can understand, and then it used to give me the output, right? So when I'm clicking on a button, I should tell system what to do at the back end, right? For that, I have to write lots and lots of code where system can understand in its own language, right? It could be Java, Oracle, .NET, or Python, any language for that matter, right? And this is where a normal human being was not able to communicate with the system, right? So if you want to communicate, you should know the software languages, one or the other. But when it comes to fourth industrial revolution, I don't have to be an IT engineer, but I can ask my phone, I can ask my Siri to show a route from place A to place B, right? I can ask assist. I can just with my voice control. I can ask my phone to give me a weather report, right? I can ask my car to drive, or I can ask a robot to bring me a coffee as well, right? I can ask Alexa to play a song for me, right? By tapping with my hand, I can ask my light to blow up, right? So all these things can be done, right? So why are we going with this, right? I mean, why are you explaining this, Ram? Because Salesforce is more of into artificial intelligence these days. Yeah. And yep, it's so easy to communicate with your systems in the current industrial revolution, right? It'll be the same even if you are going with Salesforce as well. I'll tell you how maybe in few minutes. Yeah. There. So if we consider before we go into Salesforce, let's see what is cloud and all. So if we consider this, right, like if the entire platforms into two parts, right? One is legacy, which is old, and the current platforms, right? Now, first of all, can someone tell me why do I need an application? Any software application for that matter. What is the specific reason?
and if you give some inputs to the application, then we can able to get the output. We have to give some
Okay.
input.
Okay. It basically a processing tool.
Yeah.
Correct. Anything else? Any other answers? Okay. So for me, it looks like more or less the names looks like you're Indians, right? So a similar question has been asked in a movie called Three Idiots, right? A professor asked like, "What is a definition of machine?" Right? So then Amir Khan answers like, "Okay, it is something which makes our life easier." The same thing here. So applications are being defined to make our life easier. This is one side of the definition. Okay, when you speak about one side, which side? I'll speak about a customer, right? Let's say few years back, if I want to speak with my friend, I should go to some STD booth or so, right? Stay in the queue as someone else is also speaking, right? I have to pay them and then make a call, right? But these days, if I want to speak with my friend or any of my colleague, or I can even make a video call sitting in my home, right? Why? Because there are a lot of apps came in. For example, your WhatsApp, right, which will even help you to make a WhatsApp call directly, right? A video call, right? Now, this is a definition that comes from a consumer, right? I'm a consumer. But when you go to Mark Zuckerberg, when you ask him, okay, Mark, why did you build this Facebook? Or if you ask Bill Gates, okay, why did you define this entire Microsoft? They'll say, Ram, it generates revenue for me, right? People are using it. The more people use this application, the more revenue I'll be getting, right? Now, then again, okay, how did you go to know that you have to build a tool called WhatsApp, or you have to build a tool called Facebook, or a tool called, or in a very layman example, a tool called Make My Trip or Redbus. So what these founders will say is, we have seen a scarcity in the market for this, right? So need is a mother of an invention. So they have seen the need, like, okay, there is no tool which is available in the market which helps the people to book a flight ticket. So that's the need. And they started thinking and they got an idea, yes, I can build something called a ticketing tool, or ticket booking tool, and they named it with different names, of course. Make My Trip, Clear Trip, Wire.com, Redbus, etc., etc. And that is where this entire application came in, right? Now, once the app is built, yep, it could be Ram or Lakshmi or Niharika or whosoever has started using it, they are getting the revenue. Fine. But if you go to old applications or older platforms, it could be Python or Java, Oracle, C Sharp, all this. So, how they used to do it? So, the moment I get an idea to build an application, I have to define this entire structure for me, right? So I have to set up a hardware which includes my server installations. I have to install all my applications that are required, or tools to that are required to build the application, because you cannot simply go and write a code in Notepad and run, right? Like it, you have to have a C++ tool in your system, or maybe you have to install SAP, then only you can start building the code, right? So you need some softwares, right? And you have to define who uses what, right? And you have to define the analytics, and of course something which is very important, which is you have to build the security, right? And then you make it mobile, right, or socialize it so that people will start using it. Yeah. Right. Now, to set this entire platform, it will easily take around 1 year, right, before you build the application. So if you are taking it almost 6 months to 1 year just to build this application, sorry, just to set up the environment. Imagine how much time it needs to build the application. And there are a lot of cases where business sees that okay, their application can be built in a month or two, but as the setup is going to take around 10 months, they have to unnecessarily bear the load of extra 10 months to build the application, right? This is what is the disadvantage when you are using legacy platforms or non-cloud platforms. And this is something, of course, I'm not just about the time. When you build it and when you build an in-house project, right? So there is a lot of issues that you will face under security. There is high chance that things can be hacked because you may or may not be new to the system. But if it is a standalone system, right, or an on-premise system, it will be easy to hack because you'll use the direct credentials. So that is another issue. And the last one, it's not just building the application, right? You have to maintain that at the end, right? That will be extra effort. And of course, let's say when you're setting this up, a very simple or best example is your what I would say, yeah, your server, right? When you speak about server have a user capacity which says that okay, this many users can be used, can use the application at a time, right? Maybe 100 or 200. So when you are buying a server, you must define the server capacity as well, right? So based on that, you will be getting the right server as per your requirement. What if there is a drastic change? You bought the application, I mean, you bought the server, build the application, things are good. I thought that okay, I as this is new in the market, so I'll try with only 100 users. Okay, so initially, five people started using. Slowly, they started more giving a mouth publicity. So it kept on growing. Suddenly, almost 2,000 people wants to use my application. It's a drastic change, right? So from 100 to 2,000. So I have to increase my capacity. So as I am maintaining the server, I have to buy a bigger another servers, or maybe replace it with a new server with a bigger capacity. So that again affects my project cost, right? And okay, as I'm getting good business, why can't you increase it? Okay, I'll increase, but definitely there will be one day where I'll see some competitors, right? So the capacity, there will be a drastic change in the capacity also in future, so that I should have in mind. Okay, that is fine. I thought like okay, when someone comes, we'll see. But the number of users that I'm using, that I'm supporting now are 5,000. Just because Lakshmi came in and she started sharing the similar application which has more features. Out of this 5,000 users, let's say 4,000 users started using her system. Then that's it. I am gone, right? I have only 1,000 users, but the capacity is more than 5,000. So the maintenance cost increased. Everything got increased. I'm not getting a ROI, return of investment, right? So to avoid all this, we will go with cloud computing. Okay, what is this? So if you consider this, right? On-premise and cloud. On-premise is something that I own everything as a resource owner. So I will set up the server, I will set up the integration tools, operating systems, etc., etc. But when it comes to cloud, there will be a service provider somewhere sitting in New York or New Jersey or in Bangalore or maybe in Delhi, right? They'll say, hey, I have a server. If you are building your application, right, and if you want to use my technology, come join us. Pay some with a minimal amounts. So start using my space. This is what a service provider says. And in this, of course, you have lot many service providers who are working on the cloud computing. So one of them is of course Salesforce. Now, all these are divided into three types. One is infrastructure, platform, and software as a service. When I say infrastructure as a service, here it says I'll give you a space, storage space, I'll give you the virtualization, and I'll help you for the networking. But whatever the operating system you need, what kind of middlewares you need for the integration with other systems. The data should be maintained by you. All these things should be taken care by you because you are building your application. Best example, Amazon Web Services. That's why it is little costly, right? I mean, implementation is costly. It's a black box. Or another other one is, of course, even in Salesforce HANA as well. Then comes to platform as a service. Here it says, boss, I'll give you everything, but whatever the application you want to build, right, you build it and you maintain your data. This is what platform as a service is, right? And Ram is the best example. Yeah, of course, our Salesforce. So first Salesforce license comes with platform license. This is the cheapest license that we have. It will give you a platform where you can build your application, which is what we are going to see in future as well. Yeah. So you don't have to install any software. You don't have to install any application. Nothing is required. You log into Salesforce, start building your application. Okay, Ram, what is this last one? This is hybrid software as a service. A very good example is your Facebook. Do I need to install a software to access Facebook? Not required. I'll go to browser, login dot sorry facebook.com, give my credentials, click on login button, start accessing my data, speak with my friends, share my pictures, comment the other photos, or like someone else's pictures or posts. Right? So Mark have built an application and provided it as a service. Right? Mark the software has been provided as a service through internet, and of course Salesforce plays a major role here. Okay, Ram, but few minutes back you said it is there in platform. Yes, Salesforce will work as platform as a service and of course software as a service as well. So if you want to build your own application, then Salesforce says, okay, use our platform services. But now if you say no, uh, when you're buying the license, right? Salesforce by default gives you some market standard applications like sales, service, marketing, Einstein, etc. etc. And they'll say, hey Ram, so in the market, the standard sales process is you'll have an inquiry and you'll speak with an inquiry, you'll give them offers and make them customers, start doing the transactions. This is already defined in Salesforce. So if you are using the same thing, you can use my application. Similarly, service. Once the product is sold, you will have an assert and people will start service requests and your team will start resolving it. So how do we capture this? This entire process is again defined in Salesforce on an application called Service Cloud. And it says that if you want to use this, you can use this Service Cloud application as well. Now, it is up to me to decide whether I have to use this market standard application given by Salesforce or no, I'll go with the platform. Now, there is one person called, let's say, Prashant from ABC organization. He says, hey, I really don't have time to build it from the scratch on the platform because I'm selling some, let's say, mobile. But the point is, I'm not gonna advertise this in the market because I have standard set of customers. So I don't have to get the inquiries. This process is not required, which means the sales application is fine to use, but only a percentage. Now Salesforce says, okay, if that is the case, some 60-70% of our application is matching your requirements. So rest 30, you customize it. We can tweak the applications which are given by Salesforce according to our business purpose as well. That's the best and beauty of Salesforce. It's not that you are just have to use the application. Instead, you can tweak it according to your business requirements as well. Yeah. Now, yeah, these are some of the examples. Then, customer 360. Um, this is something which tells you entire details about Salesforce, like what kind of platforms it uses. It is there in mobile. You have artificial intelligence, as I said. You have analytics, and for privacy and identity, we have a lot of tools, and we have flow builders. We have communities. Even we do have commerce, like Amazon. We do have commerce applications as well. And on the left side, these are the different applications that Salesforce deals with. And if you see, right, if you can see the entire journey of the customer here. I want to sell a product, so marketing. Okay, Salesforce provides helps you to market the product. I want to sell it off. I have sales application. So once the product is sold, I said, like, I have promised my customer that I'll provide service. So Salesforce provides Service Cloud, and I need different applications to analyze or mature my data. Yes, that can be done. Analytics. And now I want to integrate my system with SAP. So we have one beautiful tool called MuleSoft for integration. And my customers are started, they want to share a document within the team, and they want to make sure that it should be editable. So we have a tool called Quip. We of course call it as employee experience. And Salesforce every year, okay, before I come to this point, how many of you know Nokia? Okay, how many of you don't know Nokia? One of the biggest mobile brands, right? There are times there 70 to 80% of the market is with Nokia earlier, right? But yeah, it was an old story. Why? Because they never upgraded themselves, right? That's the best example. Now you have lots and lots of mobiles that are in the market. Right? If Nokia might have understood the customer requirements and started upgrading themselves according to the market standards, definitely there would be. I mean, it could be top three contenders in the mobile industry these days. But that didn't happen because they didn't upgrade it. But here in Salesforce releases three updates a year, thrice a year. Winter, now we are in winter 24, summer, winter, and spring. Three releases. Now, what they do? So we have a portal called Idea Community in Salesforce, where, let's say, I have seen some approval process. I felt like there are some issues in it. So I'll search for it. If I didn't figure out a solution in Salesforce documentation, I'll post this idea in their community. And other folks who are using the same community, maybe from my organization or other companies, they can also log in and they'll start voting. And if Salesforce feels that yes, this is something which is required by a lot many people, they will say, okay, we are taking this up. And within next or next to next release, they'll implement that idea and they'll say, hey, we are giving this to you as a product. Now this feature can be utilized. This is what they do. And of course, they'll always do a lot of re-engineering to upgrade themselves. And where do I see all this? You have we do have Trailblazer portal where you can check all these updates. And of course, okay, in which area you can use this RAM? In all the industries. Almost, not almost, actually all the industries. It's been widely used in education industry, financial industry, oil and gas, banking, real estate, and of course, if you are aware, uh, Formula One. Formula One is using Salesforce, by the way, to understand the customer experience. That's the recent biggest customers of Salesforce. And Citibank for marketing, sorry, for financial transactions. You know what? 70% of Citibank's transactions are based on Salesforce. And if you are from India, so one ad you will hear from here and there, which is Paytm Karo. The back end of Paytm is Salesforce. And if you're using a portal called Redbus, Redbus is using Salesforce. Yeah. And okay, Ram, you are speaking all about bigger organizations. How about small? Yes. The Salesforce have divided the license. It has a wide variety of licenses. It starts from $2.5 per annum to $500 per month also. It differs based on our requirement. Based on the user requirement, it can, there are organizations where they have 20, 30 people who are using it, but they're still using Salesforce. Why? Most of the organizations, they made it with, most in the sense 90% of the customers of Salesforce, they have clearly made a statement that they have seen a change of 40% of their profits post using Salesforce. And of course, there are two again. Salesforce have divided things into two things. I mean, entire people who are using in Salesforce into two things. One is partner community and the success community. Partner community is nothing but the service providers like IBM, Infosys, Wipro. As these people will build the applications in Salesforce and serve the other customers, right? So these people are will be considered as partner communities, and being a partner you will have an extra access. And for others, like people like the people who doesn't have partner community, you can access success community, where when I'm writing a code, let's say I'm writing a trigger and I forgot to write a query, so I can post my question in the success community and people will start answering, right? So this basically gives me the bird eye view on my customer. So there is no case where you will be flipped off. Clear? And yeah, so Salesforce follows multi-tenant architecture. What do you mean by that? Yes, simple apartment culture. So let's say I have a own house, right? And I need a badminton court. So what should I do? I have to buy some land, right? Start building the court, right? I need to make, and of course I need to maintain it as well, so I need a gardener, right? But to set this up, I have to invest huge money, right? And of course I have to continue maintaining that. What but what if I'm staying in a community, and if I need a badminton court, I just have to pay some $1,000 or so as a maintenance every month. But earlier it could be lakhs, right? And in India, it's becoming crores, by the way, right? But here, the maintenance amount is very, very cheap. And of course, I will be using the same extent, right? So that's the advantage in going with multi-tenant architecture. But there are clauses. For example, if I bought a flat in my community, let's say if this is my flat, I can't go to my neighbor's house and sleep, right? Or I can't simply play in someone else's house. Right? I have to be in my own limits. Right? We call them as governor limits. So for each and every feature that we are going to build in future will have a limitation. We will discuss about it. Clear? And yes, now this entire the first image has been shortened to, once you get an idea, get Salesforce, use the tools of Salesforce, build a solution. That's it. The beauty of Salesforce here is you don't have to think about, okay, what if my end user started using mobile application? So do I need to call some web designer who will build some responsive screens for me? Nothing required, because by default Salesforce supports all the gadgets that the end user is using. So you don't have to invest again on the web developer. That's the beauty. And yes, so this clearly tells us that the entire time has been taken care from months to, you can even, there are a couple of situations where I have built an application in 1 or 2 days and given it to those people, my business users. Yeah. And of course, it depends on the requirements as well. There are a couple of applications where we are still maintaining or building it from past 2 3 years, right? So looking at the app, business, if they have money and if they have the requirement, they'll keep on coming up with a lot of enhancements, and of course we'll keep doing it, right? Actually, this is not required, of course. Yeah, he is the CEO, and yeah, Salesforce always comes up with a point called trust, which is very important, and that is one reason. You can Google it, post the session. There is no data breach till date in Salesforce. It started in 1999, but till date, there is no data breach at all. And one of the beauties of Salesforce, App Exchange. How many of you know about App Store or Play Store? Anyone?
Nowadays, everyone is using the same thing, right? Yeah. Stop.
Correct. You know the man behind. Okay, so which came first, App Store or Play Store? Of course, App Store, right? I'm not saying that Google have replicated, but yes, to have Google has its own marketplace that is called Play Store, but that came after looking at the App Store, which is built by Apple. And of course, post the session, you can search for it. The man behind, or I would even say the person who actually bought the domain called appstore.com is him. He is the as he is the friend of CEO of Apple. He have gifted it, and he came up with a new word called App Exchange. The same concept, right? But if I want to use some applications from App Store, I have to have an iPhone, right? Or if I want to be a use the applications of Play Store, I should have a Android phone. Similarly, if I want to use an applications of App Exchange, I should be a user of Salesforce. That's it. So once you have, it also means that you don't have to get a job in Salesforce. If you have a strong idea, and if you are able to build that, you can sell it off, or you can publish it in the App Exchange, where people will start using it, and you will be getting regular revenue from that. That is another advantage. Clear? Any questions? Anyone? Now, yeah, we are more or less done. This is not required. If you can see here, this is the growth of Salesforce, and of course, it has acquired lots and lots of companies. Why? There will be a huge difference if you start building an application right from scratch, or upgrading an application which is already built at 50%, right? And these days, if you observe, no organization, or let's say if you go 10 years back, or yeah, 10 years back, so IBM used to fight with Infosys used to fight with Wipro, right, to make sure that, to get the clients, etc., etc. But if you have observed these years, no organization, I just randomly picked up the organization, yeah, but no organizations is fighting with the other organization. They are still fighting, but not with. their competitors. They are fighting with the time because every customer needs a speedy solution. Of course, sustainable as well, right? Not just the speed, sustainable solution as well. To get that, what's the mantra that Salesforce follow is see if this idea has been built somewhere in the market already, and see if we can acquire that and then start improving it. So that's the result of this many companies that Salesforce have acquired. Okay, then yeah, this is something very important, very simple but very important, especially for you. Why? So most of you who attended this session or attending this session might be freshers, or you might be from a different technology. Freshers, fine, they have to learn something. Good that they got to know that there is something called Salesforce in the market. They started, but how about experienced? So why are you switching or planning to switch your career to Salesforce? Anyone? Two reasons from mind is one is either you realize that the technology that you are working in got saturated in the market, which means like you have too much of competition about that particular technology in the market, or maybe companies stopped using it slowly, so you have seen there is no future in it, right? Or maybe you thought like, okay, let's go with some technology which will be there for a couple of years in future, right? That's the main reasons. Of course, if you are more enthusiastic to learn Salesforce and all, yeah, that's a different case. But these are the majority people. Yeah, if when you are learning a new technology, right, you have to see these two because you are switching from XYZ technology to Salesforce because of these two reasons. So we have to make sure these two things are validated properly. First one, competition. When you speak about competition, there is a huge competition. Competition gets increased if the number of jobs decreased, right? These are inversely proportional. What if I say I have only one job and I have 100 people? So definitely huge competition. But what if I say there are 50 jobs and 100 people? That's what is happening now. Because if you see here, the growth of Salesforce, it actually touched 35, 34 million or 34 billion already, by the way. Uh, so if you see here, Salesforce kept on growing since the time it started. And of course, the bar is gonna rise at least for bare minimum next 5 to 10 years very easily. Example is me because I was there since 2010 in the Salesforce market, and I am actually in a very good position. Now, if the technology that I'm working in is growing, what does it mean? If their profits are getting increased, which means it is having lot of customers. The more number of customers are using the product, so the more number of requirements will be generated, which will generate more number of opportunities for the people who wants to serve, and get a new job, right? That is why the screen is important. So competition is less, growth is more. And of course, the technology will survive bare minimum 10 years. But Ram, what is your confidence about this? Because Salesforce is not just growing vertically, it is growing horizontally as well. where initially, if you ask me around 10 years back or 7 years back, we know that there is something called industries, but we don't know it can be done in Salesforce. Or 4 or 5 months back, you have seen ChatGPT, right? Within a month, Salesforce came up with a product called Einstein ChatGPT, which is more advanced than that. So, which means anything comes in the market, it is making sure that Salesforce is having a better product. And also it doesn't mean that Salesforce is the only solution or the final solution for every business problem. I would say if you have data and if you have to mature that data, Salesforce will be the right solution. And of course, every IT solution is all about data, right? And that's where we have in Salesforce. Clear? Then these are the different certifications that you have. You can be an administrator or a developer, you can be a consultant, you can be a specialist in a particular product like CPQ, marketing, or all, or you can be an architect as well. It depends on your requirements or your passion, basically. What are we gonna cover, Ram? So I'm gonna cover admin and development. It doesn't mean commerce in this. Like we'll discuss about platform developer one, two, and advanced and admin and admin. And there are some prerequisites to complete your advanced admin. You must be an admin. You to complete your PD2 examination, you have to go with PD1 first. So I won't specifically tell you, okay, this is for admin, this is for advanced admin, or this is for PD1, or this is for PD2, because as the name itself says, it is advanced admin. So the questions will be little more deeper. That's it. Okay. And coming to the durations, so the sessions will be for 1 hour a day. So timings you will get to know. So we'll have 20 sessions for to understand the admin and 20 sessions to complete the development as well. And yeah, classes will be commencing in a couple of days that you can get to know about. And course content, yes, you will be shared. So first thing that you'll do is we'll see how do we get the logins in Salesforce. So once we get the login, so maybe in the next session, I'll tell you in depth like what is the basics of Salesforce, what are these, how do we get this, how do we access in a particular application, and then we'll start something on admin. Okay, then how about course content? You will be getting a detailed documentation, but I'll give you a high level glimpse about it. When you speak about admin in Salesforce, it doesn't mean the person who will work only on the security. Admin is the person who can help you to configure the solution, where in which he can build the application, he can define some tables that you need, he can write some automation rules like automatically sending email. For a best example is, let's say if I'm doing a transaction of maybe $1,000 in my account, I'll immediately get a notification, okay, $1,000 have been debited from your account, right? So how are we getting that automated? Or let's say if I go to a bank and apply for a home loan, so they will have a well defined process, right? It's not that as Ram went today, his close friend is there and offer in the bank, he will give me a loan tomorrow, right? Bank have to validate the documents that I have given, right? They'll check whether I'll be able to pay the amount properly or not, all this, and then finally I'll be getting the loan, of course, if I'm a genuine person. So such things can be easily built using Salesforce admin, and it doesn't need any prerequisites. You don't have to be a technical person to understand the admin. Like by any chance, if anyone of you are starting your careers in IT, there is no prerequisite to learn the admin. If you know the very, very, very basics of Excel sheet, that should be enough. Which means how to create table, how to assign columns, how to just add the data in Excel, that should be enough. Rest all I will take care. Once the admin is done, then we'll go with development. Why now? Why can't you start parallelly? Because the prerequisite for development is admin. Unless until you know the admin, you cannot go with the development. Okay, why again? Because as the name itself says development, this is the place where we'll write some custom solutions, the custom user interfaces. Why, Ram? You said a person, an admin can build a solution in Salesforce admin area itself, right? So why are we going with the development in that case? Because there are cases, as it is going with configuration, you have to follow the standards which are given by Salesforce when you're going with admin. But a customer may or may not follow the same standards which is given by Salesforce. He might be having a different requirement. That is where we'll go with development. And when I say you're a developer, you must have admin knowledge also, because there are a lot of limitations on admin which cannot be achieved, right? Unless until you know the pros and cons of admin, you can't be a developer. So that is why we'll discuss about admin first, and then we'll go with development. Now, coming to prerequisites, of course, for PD1, you must complete the admin. I mean, PD1 or PD2, anything. Right? To being a developer, you should be an admin. Plus, you should know some development languages like object oriented programming in Java, very basics. As I said again, very basics are enough. So that I'll show you anyways. I'll give you the good documentations also, which will help you to get that. And provided if you have a basic knowledge on HTML as well. HTML and JavaScript. These three are good enough. And anyways, I'll give you a high level gist, and I'll show you some places where you can practice them as well during the sessions. Okay, that's all about entire demo. And actually, a lot of people ask me, so I just kept this slide, but numbers are very small now because these are very this at least this slide is very old. Um, so if you ask me numbers, there is a 50% increase in each and every number, especially when it comes to developers. These days freshers are getting around 10 to 12 lakhs package a year. Freshers, Salesforce developers, telling you about. Now you think about the experienced candidates. Okay, any questions, anyone?
Yeah, I have. Hello.
Yes, please.
Uh, so is a Salesforce considered as a database? Actually, I'm joining a project. I mean, recently joined a project.
One second, actually, your voice is breaking. I'm not able to understand what you're asking.
Okay. Am I audible now?
Yeah, but some background noise is coming.
Okay. How about now? Is it better?
Okay, yeah, better.
So actually, I have a question. Like, is a Salesforce a database? Recently, I joined a project where we need to move the data from, I mean, loading the data from Postgres to Salesforce.
Yeah.
I haven't started my work yet. Salesforce is new to me. I have a question like, is a Salesforce a database or is a part of database is a part of Salesforce? Are we going to cover
Yeah,
topics on
Salesforce
that?
is not a database. I would say Salesforce is a CRM solution, wherein which Salesforce has its own database also. Right?
Okay.
So for example, the data you are storing, so it follows the data will be stored in Salesforce database itself. So it's like a database with full of automations. You can store the data and you can automate it so to mature it.
Mm-hmm. So for me, like, what area of this Salesforce will be useful to learn? I'll
Yeah,
be
just
mostly on the ETL side. Actually, we'll be loading data into Salesforce.
okay.
We'll be
So
loading
for
Salesforce.
anything that you see here, first thing is admin.
Okay. Admin will
And
automatically. Okay.
yes, so because admin is the place where you'll understand what is this database and how this data models are defined, how do we provide the security, how can we control a user. Let's say I don't want to show a particular column to a user or a particular table to a user, or I want to hide a specific record from a user. All these things can be done in admin itself.
Okay. Okay. So just I need to understand the terminologies, right, with respect to Salesforce
Yeah,
database.
that you'll get used to it when we start the actual sessions.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
And what are the languages we need to learn from as part of this?
Yeah, for admin, zero. For development, yeah, if it will be good if you have a very minimal or bare minimum knowledge on object-oriented programming, Java or and JavaScript. Basics of JavaScript again.
Okay.
Like what is a
So
class, how do we create a class, what is a function, how do we invoke a function. Very basics.
that's for developer, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So the mainly the even I am completely new to the Salesforce. Just I want to I'm trying to understand a little more. So mainly the Salesforce will deal with the data, basic data one, or any apps.
You can build multiple applications in Salesforce which helps you to deal with the data.
Okay,
See, when you ask me what is an application, it's just a collection of tables with some well-defined process. And what does your table will have? You'll have data, right?
that's true. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Ram.
Hey Ram, can you give some insight on these consultant roles?
Yeah, this will be covered as a part of admin about sales and service. Like instead of just building the things, so I will, we will even see what do you mean by a sales cloud because that will come along with the licenses. So we'll see what is a sales cloud, how does it work, and what is a service cloud, how does it work, and what are the features that are there. All these things will be covered in admin concept itself, but Salesforce have a separate certification about these consultants, but I would rather consider them as an admin jobs itself.
Okay,
In the market there is no specific consultant role, but these are the certification tracks that are there in Salesforce where you can say, okay, I'm an admin but I'm an experienced, I have a good expertise in service cloud. Once you have service cloud certification, or if you have a marketing cloud certification, then you can say I am an admin with a marketing cloud expertise.
okay. So for the consultant role, what is the skill
Okay,
set
as I
that he
said,
should know about a
yeah,
developer for
yeah,
PD1 and PD?
yeah, as I said, there is no consultant role in the market.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay, so it's just part of the admin activity.
Yes, yeah, few things, but we won't be able to cover which needs licenses like marketing, Pardot, field service lightning, all these things. It needs original licenses. So with the free license that we are going to go with, so we won't be able to see those. So that will be considered as a different product of Salesforce altogether. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions, anyone?
One sec. Are we going to provide any simple project on this one, something like that?
Um, how do I say?
I mean, like it's not about that one. I mean, we said like it's everything is related to data and everything, right? How to
Yeah.
create a table and everything, right? And
Relation.
if there are if there are
Yeah.
multiple tables are there, if there is any relationship, how to maintain that one also going to teach
Yeah.
like that.
So Actually, this is one question I will be expecting from you folks every time when I'm giving a demo. So what? Yeah, when I speak about data model, of course, you will have relations, different types of data types that we are having. Everything will be discussed. But when it comes to project, so what's your expectation? So I'll tell you what I do generally, and I'll tell you how the market is as well. Right? So generally, what will happen is you will be trained in the technology first, and in the last, I'll give you a 10 pager or 100 pager document where I'll say, hey, day one, we discussed about relations now. You apply this here. And the second requirement, this can be done in day three's requirement. Can you go back, look at the video, and come back? And I can simply ask you to implement the entire application within last 4 days, which you won't get a kick out of it to build it. Rather, what we are going to do is on the first session itself, we will start speaking about some application that is available in the market, but very simple applications where we can think as a customer. Simple things, banking sector, or maybe a travel agency, maybe career IT, a consultancy, or an education institution, or maybe a real estate organization, something like that. Because I would prefer to have it as simple as possible because you are here to learn the technology. So, to learn the technology, it will be good if your use cases are as simple as possible so that you can easily digest the information, get the concepts at a right pace. Post that, see, in the sessions we'll write, let's say if you're writing code, right? So you will write a trigger of 100 or 200 lines. But when you go to your organization, there you will have a minimum of 1000, 2000 lines. It doesn't mean that you alone will sit and write the code, right? You will have your colleagues who will work with you, right? So in your organizations, your scenarios will be way complicated. But as we have limited time, what I will do is, so I will pick some simple and better examples for every feature that we are going to discuss, and of course all those features will try to implement on one single application, both your admin and development. So that what will happen, I don't have to give you a document on that application. Rather, by end of the session, you will have a full-fledged application defined in your own Salesforce instances where you can use it for your lifetime as a reference. Did I answer your question?
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Any other questions, anyone?
Hi Ram, my name is Venkat. Oh, I hope you can hear me, please.
Yeah, Venkat.
Quick question, sir. You know, what is the entire course? What are the things that you are going to cover? How long it will take to complete the course? How much does it cost? Are you the correct person or somebody else will be talking?
Actually, I have already discussed everything apart from cost. Cost will be discussed by the career IT folks. But yeah, I can repeat it again. So we are going to cover admin and development, right?
Mm,
We'll start with
mm,
admin and then we'll complete at development.
mm.
Admin will have 20 sessions, 1 hour a session. Similarly, the development as well.
Okay. So total course, how much time it will take, please?
20 plus 20, 30. 40 hours.
30. You are saying 30 hours or 30 days?
40 hours. 1 hour
40
a
hours.
session. 40 session.
Every day, one session will be there?
I think only weekdays.
Oh, every weekend.
Every weekday.
Weekday. Okay, okay.
Yeah, 5 sessions a week.
I
Yeah,
see.
and again, it depends on the team. If team is okay to have a session on the weekends, and if my term permits, I'll take it on
Mm.
the weekends as well.
Okay, in the event, I think at what time is it? IST or EST or CST?
That you will timings and about the pricings, you will hear from the consultancy itself.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
Ram, are you going to share this recording, correct?
I think you'll be getting it from the consultancy.
Okay, Ram.
Okay.
Thank you. And in the event, you see certain, because I don't know, entire team people may work or may not be able to attend at some point of time. Is these sessions are recorded and shared during the course or
Yes,
after
yes.
the course also?
No, no.
What are the
One
what are
second.
the
One
yes?
second. One second. When it comes to the recordings, so once the session is completed on the same day, the same recording will be shared across the people.
Okay. And once the
Of course,
course
in the
is done,
links as well.
is there any lab that you guys are providing, and how long that
Yeah,
lab is going to take?
okay, maybe I might have missed it. So you won't be getting a lab post the course. Rather, right on the day one, you are going to create an instance in Salesforce, and maybe at least the admin part, right? Because development we have to write a lot of logic. So I'll be sharing the screens. 90% of the admin sessions, I won't be sharing my screen at all. You heard me right? I'm not going to
Yes.
share my screen. Instead, every day one of you will be sharing your own screens, and I will be guiding you what to do, which feature we are using, so that
Mm,
of course the sessions will be little slower when you are doing it, because I've been in the industry from almost more than a decade. So I'll be I mean, I know what, and of course I know what which concept I'm going to discuss, so I'll be fast. But when you are doing it, definitely things will be little slow, but I would prefer to go in that pace, so that you will understand what you're doing as well, and I'll also know like what is your capability in when you're working on that feature when you're sharing your screen.
that's nice. Yes, but once the course is over, right?
That will
So
be a
how's the
lifetime edition. No, that
life?
will be a lifetime edition. It's not given by the consultancy. It is something which is given by Salesforce itself.
Okay. Is there any subscription that we have to take in order to access that
It's
one
free of cost.
directly from Salesforce?
It's free of cost.
Oh, okay.
I'll tell you where to sign up. So those details we'll see in the next session.
Sure, sure. Thank you.
Any other questions, anyone?
Are you, since you are, you said that you have nearly 13 to 14 years of experience in Salesforce, in this course, are you going to share any live thing that you are working on, so that at least the team should know, okay, this is how actually the live
There won't
session
be,
will be?
no, with the free editions that you are having, there is no much difference apart from original license cost that we pay to Salesforce and few features. And 100%, I'm not gonna share my organization screens because we have our own NOCs, right?
No, no, I'm not asking because it's not a correct way of sharing organization also. What I'm saying is there any lab that you might already been created, depends on how these live issues are going to come across in the when we are
That
learning?
is where I was speaking about the real time examples, right? So
Yeah.
it's I'm not when I'm speaking about a feature, I won't just randomly pick some scenario and give it to you. So
Okay.
though all those scenarios are from my experiences, the issues that I have faced and how we have
Okay.
resolved it. It could be my resolutions, or it could be a resolution which I got from my seniors, or of course my juniors, many colleagues.
Okay. Thank you, Ram. One small question.
Yeah.
You are a consultant or administrator? I know you said architecture, but which background on what type of company that you are working for, please?
Um,
Is it a financial or a industrial? That's what I mean to say.
So I worked in all the industries, actually.
Nice. Okay.
I mean, not all. I would say that will be too much. Um,
You are allocated. You are located in India or somewhere
yeah,
else?
I'm from Bangalore.
Oh, thank you. I got it.
So I've worked more than six industries by now: education, finance, real estate. What else? Oil and gas, medical. I mean, pharma, banking. Yeah, that's it. Not more than that. My experience is not that big. So just 13 years.
No, 13 years is a big me.
Yeah.
Only in a
So
Salesforce. Only in a
Yeah, only
Salesforce or overall? Okay.
only in
Yeah.
Salesforce. I started my career in Salesforce itself.
Nice. Thank you.
yeah, Ram, just a quick question. So I joined late by 10 minutes. I just want to know what's the difference, what SAP is offering and Salesforce is offering.
Good question. SAP gives you a black box where you have to build everything from scratch. One big difference. Because I didn't work on SAP. This is the information that I know from a lot of people like you who attended my sessions, and a lot of other colleagues who are working with me who switch their technology from SAP, especially cost, maintenance, right? Because when I go with an SAP, I have to have an in-house product, or I mean, sorry, uh, onto my systems and all. So I don't need that in Salesforce, right? I can just uh, Salesforce is like exactly like your Facebook. So you don't need to have maintain any server to access your Facebook, right? So you just go to Facebook website and start using it, right? If it is in your mobile, yes, you have to install your Facebook application. Similarly, you can install your Salesforce application in mobile as well and start using it. But SAP is not that easy. It is always complicated. And if I'm not wrong, any of the social networking websites, whether it could be Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, I don't think someone have trained you to use it, right? Because it is very easy. Maybe first time your friend might be sat with you and say, okay, Venkat, this is what is Facebook. So you can raise a friend request from here just once. I think not more than 10-15 minutes. Right?
Yeah. So
Exact thing in Salesforce. It is the UI of Salesforce is completely user friendly.
okay. So just in a business scenario, uh, say for example, SAP is being installed for an e-commerce company. So
Mm,
for maybe a retail company, e-commerce
mm,
is wrong. Retail company. So in
mm.
a retail company, you have all the departments, right? So as you said, I mean, I do have little knowledge, very bare little knowledge on SAP. What
Okay,
I see is they give a black box, as you said,
correct.
and everything is designed. All those requirements, all those requirements are being captured and customized as per the needs. So if
Correct.
you take the same scenario in Salesforce, how is it implemented
Same
from?
thing. Example, sales, right?
Uh-huh.
A simple sales application. So I
Okay.
have a lot of automated features already available in Salesforce. So if I
Oh, you
want to
mean?
implement it,
Hmm.
so there are in-house applications, in-house tools that are already available. So I don't have to bang my head to, okay, customer have asked me to send an email. Now I have to write a big custom logic to send an email. No, Salesforce says, Ram, you need to send an email, right? Tell me what is the trigger point. Come to this flow. Tell what is the trigger point. When do you want to send the email? Pick a particular template. Choose the person who wants to send. Is that a particular email field that is there on that particular table, or to us user in the system? So pick the person, the recipient, and just say okay and activate that. So next time, whenever Venkat is doing a transaction on the system, it will shoot an email to the right person.
So
That easy
my
it's in Salesforce.
Oh, okay. So I mean, OTC cycle is same for any ERP, right? Order to cash.
Kind of, yeah.
Oh, okay. So basically, my understanding, as based on your briefing, is you have all predefined templates in Salesforce.
No, no. Kind of. Yeah. So we have all the features that are there, and you have to tweak those features. When you are building those features, you have to tell the system, okay, this is what I need at this particular time. For example, uh, uh, let's say I want to enter an email field. I want the user to give me an email field in SAP. Right, when I speak about email field, I think there is no specific data type in SAP which says that this is how your email format is. But Salesforce, by default, when I'm creating that field, it'll ask me, Ram, what is the data type that you need? If I choose email, and let's say if a customer Rajesh is coming there and he simply say is that, okay, Rajesh is my email ID, it won't accept. It'll say, Rajesh, your format is wrong. You must mention Rajesh at gmail.com or something. That regex expression is already taken care in Salesforce.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you, Ram.
Yeah. So it's basically things are already available, and it is up to the person who is providing the solution how you are using that feature. And of course, every problem that you face in Salesforce will definitely have bare minimum 2 to 3 solutions, like any other technology. Now you will be considered as the topmost person only if you are able to fix or pick the right one for that particular scenario. So that is what you'll get to know during the course. Yeah.
Okay.
And there
Okay.
is nothing called, okay, this particular feature is important or this is something which is very good. There is nothing like that. So it depends on the requirement to requirement, things will change.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Ram.
Any other questions, anyone?
Thank you, Ram. Thank you for the explanation. And when will be the second session, please?
It must be either on Monday or Tuesday.
Around the same time?
I actually definitely not at this time. Little early than this, but yeah, exact timings and all. The consultancy folks will inform me.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thanks everyone. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Ram.
See you next week. Bye everyone.
Bye.